Okay, gearbox modification. I've got a oil cooler for the gearbox because it gets very hot. I'm gonna attach it to the diagonal frame tube, the sidecar chassis, or to the sidecar itself. These Munson rings that I hold or use to hold the toolbox on the side, that little money box I got with all the fuses in it on a previous video, indicator relay and that sort of stuff, fuse box. Those Munson rings also fit the frame, the sidecar chassis, where the two diagonals, one is front and rear, so I can mount the gearbox oil cooler onto that. It's got 8mm pipes going onto it. That's the drain plug. Originally I was going to get one of these for the drain plug. I've ordered one, but then I got this one, so I'm going to fit it a little bit higher up than the drain plug, just to stop if there is any swarf in the bottom for whatever reason. When I originally took this apart, there was lots and lots of bronze in the bottom, so I've swapped out my original gearbox, which is a standard gearbox. It's not been modified, so those two top there's two top mounts there, won't fit the BMW. This one's been modified, it's been re-welded, remachined. These two mounts are further up than the standard one, but I know for a fact that my internals have got only 10,000 kilometers on them, about 7,000 miles. So I've got all brand new bearings, one there, one at the bottom of the shaft, one up there, one at the bottom of the shaft. Dnepr gears are very skinny. They're not very thick at all, because obviously they've only got 30-ish on a good day horsepower going through them. I suppose if I was to look at a BMW gearbox, they would be much thicker because they've got 70 plus horsepower going through them. So to keep the temperature down, I've got this AN fitting in the top that's gonna feed straight onto this idler gear, so that it gets splushed around the gearbox, rather than having cooler oil just sort of possibly hitting the oil and just sinking to the bottom, getting drawn out again. I want it to get mixed with the hot oil. So I've got that. It uses it will have one of the, oh, finger over the lens, sorry. This will screw onto the top once it's all in place. Can't even do it up. And that's got a 10mm barb. That one's got a 10mm barb. And this does clear. I've measured it up loads of times with the air filter on and the inlet to the carburetor. But whilst I'm taking the gearbox in and out, I'm not having that on it. I've also got you said, where have they gone? Reducers 10mm to 8, so that I can have 10mm coming out. Obviously this will be sitting upright, 10 mil is going to come out to the where the frame cross member is. One of these in place, taking it down to 8 mil to the 8 mil to the electric pump I've got, 8 mil to the oil cooler, 8 mil out the oil cooler, to along the bike, along the frame, so the frame will be sort of down this direction, and then a 10 mil, another reducer down on the frame with a 10 mil coming up to the 10 mil on there, and then cooler oil being splooshed about. I've also got a temperature sensor, same thing. That's going to sit, once that's screwed in, it's a nice snug fit. I have got a locking nut for it, although once it's in, there's not a great amount of thread sticking out, and I don't really fancy a nut wandering about in there, so I will Loctite it in, and it is a snug fit anyway. It does earth through the body, but it's also got an earth lead, so it doesn't matter if it doesn't earth, if I use PTFE or if I use Loctite or both. I'll probably Loctite it. So the oil level, this will only protrude through a little way, and it will sit down there. Hold on. Stick this thing out. Yeah, it's going to sit down there, not touching anything. This, even if it was to go fully down into there, won't be touching the sensor. So that's right. I did want it, see, I wanted it on a flat piece at the bottom. That flat would have been ideal, but if it was to poke through here, where the kickstart shaft goes on, it's got a very wide, that spring is quite broad, and the spring, it comes up to this sort of scratch mark here, so this casing is quite thick, so if I had it with a bit of room in there poking out, it does poke out a bit from here, it would have touched the spring or interfered, it would have encroached on the spring. So it's now sitting down there out the way. Let's poke it again. Is it focusing? Under there, see it wiggling? So there's bags of room. The oil level comes up to sort of here. So, and I'm also going to have enough oil to fill the tubes, the pipework to and from the pump and to and from the oil cooler. So everything should be tickety boo. I've got another one of these. I've just put a deep sump conversion. There's a cast in, it's about 1 inch deep, goes between the sump and the block, with an external screw and oil filter at the front, because my oil filter, because it's obviously not in a BMW frame now, the BMW engine, my Dnepr frame is that far from the oil filter cover, so there's no way that was going to come off without, like I did now, to drop the engine down, but I didn't have the gearbox in it. So I've got a temperature sender in the sump, and I'm going to wire them hopefully so that I can have what I've lost. Disorganised. This sort of thing. So if I put it there, it'll read the gearbox temperature, and put it on the front, it'll read the engine temperature. So I can have just one temperature gauge, down on the front where the frame, the other 45-degree comes off right down the front of the frame, sidecar frame, so I can see that. So all being well, once I've smashed that on with a hammer, I can get it back in. I'm going to put this in last minute. There is room between, the BMW engine comes quite a long way back with the engine mount, but there is room. Once this is screwed in, there's only, look, 10-11 mil sticking out. It will have a sealing wash on it as well, and Loctite. That'll go in. So then once I've got that in, I can put the prop shaft on, the diff, the back wheel, get the bike back out the other garage, and then start plumbing in and fitting, sorting out where I'm going to put this. It's a nice little oil cooler. I don't know how big it is. You can see by my hand. It should be good. Should keep it cool. Got these. Chop the ends off of them. Don't need banjos. I've got some 10mm pipes. So I've got enough pipe. My shoelaces undone. Look. Why can't anybody dress me before I leave? So there we go. I should do another video of when it's all up and running, and hopefully the temperature gauge is working. Thanks for watching. Stick any questions down below. I've got an Instagram account. I'll try and link it. I don't know, I'm not very technical, but I'll try and put that on as well with all my Instagram pictures. Thank you. Goodbye all.